Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of A Fan's Perspective. What I tend to do on this channel is going to be reviewing movies that I like, movies that you recommend, movies I don't like, movies you might not like either. But hey, we're gonna go ahead and start a little movie reviewing session from here on out. But you know what? First, I'd like to go ahead and discuss the Synder Cut. So it's finally out. It took a while, but it's finally out. We've all been waiting for this. Back in 17 nightmares. Back in 17, when Joss Whedon's, Justice League came out, so everyone's been calling it, it left a lot out there for everyone that wanted more from what we really got. And I feel like in a lot of ways, the Synder Cut has actually fixed that. Actually makes you want to see what's going to happen in the next Cyborg movie, what's going to happen in the next Flash movie, what's going to happen in all these characters. Hell, I'm excited for Man of Steel 2 whenever that happens. Now, the question is, now that the Synder Cut is out, by the way, I will have a review of that. That will probably be my first movie I'm going to review. Should be up tomorrow, maybe later this week. I'm not too sure. I am new to this, so just be patient with me, please. All right, so the Synder Cut is out. And what now? What can we expect from the DCEU from now? They're in a mess. There's just so much going on and no one's sure what is going on, to be honest with you. So here's my proposal how, DC or realistically Warner Brothers can fix this. And because I feel like they are the ones that created this whole mess with trying to interfere with Zack's original vision just to compete with Marvel, which I think was just not the way to go about it. And by the way, Warner Brothers, if you are watching this, Zack, if you're watching this, if you do get back on it, just, not Zack. I would say Warner Brothers, if you are watching this, you can contact me. I can go ahead and consult your new writers. Or, you know what? Screw it. I want the DCEU to be good, so you can take this idea for free if you want to. Now, what I think DC can do, what I think Warner Brothers can do, is they can take this as an opportunity that other companies don't typically have. So you have one lighter toned DCEU that we've seen with Shazam and Aquaman recently, and even Wonder Woman 1984, whatever that was. But it is a lighter tone than what was originally intended for the other movies. Now, what Warner Brothers can do is play with the multiverse idea. They've created, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the Synder Cut, what's wrong with you? If you haven't seen the Synder Cut yet, go ahead, go watch that first, come back, and then we'll discuss this here. But for those that have seen it, like myself, who's seen it twice over the weekend, I'm sure that's nothing compared to some of you that are out there that just went way more hours into it than I did. Anyhow, this can actually work in their favor if you really think about it. What they can do is they can go ahead and, continue with the regular DCEU universe that's going on, and the Zack Snyderverse or the Snyderverse. What they can do there is let Zack Snyder go ahead and handle what he was originally trying to envision. And with the whole Flashpoint thing that's going on, we already know he's going to cross the multiverse. We already know he's going to converge a lot of things into one, whether it's for a new reboot or whether it's continuation, whatever the choice might be. I think the best way to go about it is that the Flash, of this universe, the Snyderverse, can go ahead and escape what's really going to happen. Because eventually, with the whole thing, him going in the past and getting Batman and getting everyone to change the timeline from the nightmare sequence, I think it'd be a good idea if whatever movies DC was planning to release already, with Black Adam and everything. Let that be a different universe. Let that be Earth 1. And let this be Earth 2. Flash goes from Earth 2 to Earth 1 because we already know he's going into the Injustice timeline with this whole thing. And I understand, I've seen his interviews and I've been reading articles where they state that Superman's son was supposed to become Batman, and that's a complete, and they could still incorporate that. And I know Zack's big vision was to have Superman going from a good guy to a bad guy and back to the main guy, right? I feel like what they can go ahead and do from here on out is let that play out. Let the injustice part come out, right? And then when the Flashpoint is actually happening, and I know the Flashpoint movie is coming out before all these, but if I were them, I would kind of push that back now. Snyder Cut is out. You have options. You want to compete with Marvel, well, you can't really compete in their own tournament. But what you can have is have your own, your own universe to where you don't really have to compete with Marvel per se, but I mean, I get it. Big studios, they have to compete against each other. That's just how business works. But if you want to please the critics, if you want to please the fans, and you want to keep the both sides alive, what you do is you push that Flashpoint movie till after we find out about the evil Superman. Have the Flashpoint paradox be about Barry going from that Snyderverse into whatever the new universe will be. I'm not saying recast Henry Cavill because he is my Superman. He is perfect for Superman. And at the end of Snyder Cut, we've seen him being more Superman than Man of Steel, even though I don't understand the hate behind Man of Steel, because that was, how Superman would really be if he was in our world. I mean, the dude was bullied growing up. What do you expect from him? He didn't want to save humanity because he was always told, man, keep yourself hidden because people will not be friendly to you. And he did that. And, that's part of character development. And you look at him in Snyderverse, it's a totally, completely different character. And that is what character development is supposed to be. Now, when we watch Man of Steel and everything, I'm sure a lot of people didn't see that this was going to be his vision, so they originally didn't like that Henry Cavill wasn't the Superman we all know by the end of the movie. Now, back to what I was saying. What they can have is maybe they can have Flash go from the Snyderverse into whatever the lighter universe is by that time. And then you're going to have Shazam and all these other superheroes, all these lighter DCEU superheroes come over to the Snyderverse and have them fight in Justice League. And, from there on, you can go ahead and beat Superman, but also establish both universes as canon. That is the main point. I understand the whole multiverse theory where they're already saying, maybe if we go different ways, the fans will know. Well, we know, but the general public will be very, very confused. And if you're trying to win money like Marvel, you have to please the general public. This is the best way to do it, in my opinion. And I think it would be the right way to push the DCEU to a higher degree. And I completely agree. The DC mythos is completely different than what you can expect from Marvel. What Marvel did is amazing. To have a great blueprint for their future. No hate, nothing. They have their own plan. But DCEU cannot try to be like Marvel if they want to compete with Marvel. DCEU has to bring something different. Now, I'm not saying some of their characters won't intersect with each other. Darkseid, Thanos. Some people already saw Darkseid and they're like, oh, so we already saw this from Thanos. Well, I wish I can explain them the whole history. But we know no one's going to listen to the history. So we have to show them in the videos. And so DCEU, I really hope you can fix yourself. Warner Brothers, I really, really hope you can just sit back, let the directors do what they want, and let Snyder and whomever you want to be in charge of the lighter DCEU have talks. maybe the fans prefer one side or the other. I mean, we saw, you wanted to do a Marvel. Justice League came out. I wouldn't say it was the best way to go about it, but we know what happens when DCEU tries to be like Marvel. It just does not work, right? Because it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't type of scenarios, where if you do, try to be like Marvel, people are gonna say you're copying Marvel. If you try to be something different, obviously, just like the Snyderverse, you are going to catch that comparison. Why is DC so dark? Blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you let that, build up over time. And when it's time, the fans will know what's going on. By that time, everything would be good. Now, this is just wishful thinking, but I think this is probably the best way to go about it. If you guys have any suggestions, you guys have a better way to connect, or not just these two universes, but if you have a better way of just, improving where DCEU can go from here, because they have a lot of options, a lot of good options, which is not a bad place to be in. Other than 1984 Shazam and Aquaman have been, pretty good, and the Snyder Cut was great. In my opinion, it was amazing. I mean, it wasn't 10 out of 10, but just wait for my review to come out later this week. And if there are any movies you want me to state my opinion on, do videos on, do reviews on, discussions on, please leave a comment below. And also, just to help this channel grow, please like and subscribe to this channel, and share to your friends that might have similar interests. Hey, let's all grow together. See you guys later. Have a good one.